Hello again, everybody. The Bearded Prepper here. I saw some interesting news today I wanted to come and share with you. If anything, it just really solidifies the call that I keep making, that so many people are making to the masses, to just have some preparations, to do something to take care of yourself. And the news that I saw today was about England. England is experiencing a vegetable shortage, come to find out. It's been going on for, I think, about 3 weeks. Their news was showing not just sparse shelves, but bare shelves that had absolutely no vegetation on it, or no vegetables on it. The only thing they have is what they can grow there in country, which are winter vegetables or cold weather vegetables, like greens, salad, stuff like that. But their staple vegetables are tomatoes and things of that nature, cucumbers. Those are all gone. Can't get them for multiple reasons, come to find out. I watched multiple stories and I guess investigative reports on this, and Britain is in a a unique climate where they can't really grow things in the winter, kind of like here during winter. So they were heavily dependent normally either on greenhouse vegetables or things growing further south, like I guess around Spain, I think. I may have heard mention of Morocco, some places like that. So what happened is, there was a unusual weather pattern that hit the places they normally would get their vegetables from. And the greenhouse vegetables, like the Netherlands, the reporters said they used to get a lot of their vegetables from greenhouses that were grown in the Netherlands and some greenhouses there in the UK. And they interviewed some of the British greenhouse owners, and they were all bare. Same thing in the Netherlands. They interviewed some there, and their greenhouses were all empty. And they asked, well, why would you do that? You know that, people are depending on your produce to live in other countries. And the farmers said the same thing every time. They said fertilizer, which is made, nitrogen is made using propane for the most part. And electricity costs and fuel costs were so high, had increased so much, that they couldn't afford to raise the crops. It was cost prohibitive. They would have not made any money. They would have lost money. So, what are they going to do? They just don't grow that year. And there was one other thing too, which was labor shortage. I know for a fact that we had enough labor before the last few years, and there haven't been that many people disappear from the workforce. So where are all the workers? That's what I've been hearing nonstop, for a couple of years now, is where did everybody go? I mean, they talk about these labor shortages, and indeed, there are labor shortages in restaurants. Farmers are having labor shortages for harvest. Almost everywhere you go, people are having a labor shortage. Where did everyone go? How is everyone surviving? I would love to know. If someone knows out there how everyone is getting by without working, please let me know. I would love to understand that. Drop a comment. But, back on topic. For these reasons, labor shortage, fertilizer, fuel expense, energy expense, there's a vegetable shortage in the UK. So if that can happen there, it can happen here. I know that we have much more farmland than they have there, but if you look at where your produce in the grocery store comes from, a lot of it's not from here. And, beyond that, even the ones that are here, they need the same energy, labor, and fertilizer to make it happen. So what happens if the farmers are going to take a loss? They just don't grow. And then the produce goes down. So I share all of this not to really bring doom and gloom into your Wednesday, but just to impress upon you the importance of being prepared. And that doesn't just include putting back some supplies to get by on. That includes growing some of your own food, knowing how to grow your food. this is the time of year. I've already, my spinach and lettuce has already sprouted. I've got carrots growing. I've planted some peas, some green peas and such that are going to grow in the springtime just to get things started. And as it warms up in my climate, I've learned that May 1st really is my rule of thumb to go and plant more delicate vegetables like tomatoes and green beans and squash and things of that nature. So, you know, be prepared. And I get it. Some of you are going to say, hey, Bearded Prepper Man, I don't live out in the country. I live in town, or I live in, you know, a townhouse or an apartment, or I rent a house in town. I don't have a lot of space, or I can't dig up their yard. I'm not allowed. I'm just a tenant. But guess what you can do? You can do something. You ever heard of container gardening? You can do that. You can grow greens. You can grow some vegetables in containers, in flower pots, in stackable containers. Do something. Even if it's not enough to support you, you're getting experience. You know, if you don't have a lot of experience gardening or growing your own food, this is a great time to experiment, even on a smaller level, so you at least have the basics down if you need to go broader scale. I encourage you to find ways to broaden your horizons and broaden your scale that you can grow on, even if you're in a place where you can't have a garden. You know, find a way. There's a ton of channels out there and YouTube videos showing you a lot of creative ways to grow vegetables and to grow things in a very small space. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of books and sites out there that'll show you how you could actually support yourself and your family just off of an acre. There's ingenious ways to grow, like cucumbers, any kind of running vegetable. You can put some kind of trellis or something for it to grow up and let the vegetables hang as opposed to spreading out. Spinach and lettuce, you can have a good sized container. You can let it grow in that, and you'll get enough to feed several people, at least during the growing season. You know, I get it. Squash, things like that, they take up a big footprint. You can find a way to do it and minimize the space as well, just to get something and get some experience with it. Obviously, corn and things like that you can't do in a small space. But, you know, just get out there and experiment. Do something. Because doing something is better than doing nothing. And the people that are doing nothing may be in for a very, very challenging time. Again, I don't want to just throw doom and gloom on everybody, but, you know, there are a lot of people out there that are fairly confident we're going to have some kind of banking issue, whether it be collapse or severe retraction or you know, something, or a severe loss of value on our dollar. A lot of those same people and others, including active U.S. military, are convinced we're going to be at war. We don't know what the future is going to hold. It does look scary. So I'm encouraging you to be prepared so that no matter what comes your way, you'll at least be in a better position than you are now if you've done nothing. And as I've said in other videos, and as many others will tell you, hey, look, I care about you. I care about people. I care about the people in my community. I care about people that I don't even really know as other human beings. But when I'm preparing, I'm not preparing for you. And I will feel bad if you have hard times, but I won't necessarily sacrifice my family and our security and our preparations because I feel bad for you. So you need to be able to contribute to your own well-being. You need to be prepared on some level. Start today. Go get some rice. Go get some beans. Dry beans, dry rice. Put them in a dry place. They'll last for years just like that. You know what? How about this? Why don't you go to Lowe's, Home Depot, Tractor Supply, somewhere like that, get a plastic bucket with a lid. Just a 5-gallon bucket with a lid. Go get a Rubbermaid tub, something. And then slowly start filling it up. Put some rice in there, put some beans in there, you know, things of that nature. Put some seasonings in there, some salt, things of that nature. Just something. Put something aside and start somewhere to get yourself prepared in case you have to make it on your own, in case the grocery store doesn't have it. Anyway, enough of that. I brought you this video so that you could understand that it can really happen. And most of the people in England didn't really see this coming. Or if they were told it was coming, they didn't really believe it. To quote, Glenn Beck. Most people know who Glenn Beck is. He's a conservative commentator. To quote him, he said, look, folks, don't freak out. But, if we have a bank collapse, which he believes we're going to have a bank collapse in this country, he said, it's not going to be like the Great Depression. He says it'll be worse. Because at least when the Great Depression happened, people still knew somewhat how to take care of themselves. How to, deal with the difficulties of life, because life wasn't necessarily a bed of roses for most people back then. Think about today's society. It's pretty cushy. Even the folks that don't have much, the lower class in America, at least in most of the developed world, are living a pretty cushy life compared to people, 3 generations ago. Have a lot of modern conveniences, a lot of access to cell phones, access to the internet, access to foods, even though a lot of them are not really that good for you. The refined foods that are less expensive, access to a lot of high calorie foods. You take all of that away. You take the ability to buy it away, take away people's funds, take away people's bank. People aren't prepared to survive. Most people aren't hard enough or tough enough to learn how to survive. That's a very grim situation should it ever occur. I pray that those experts or those people that they're doing all the studying of our current situation are wrong, and that things turn around, and maybe we'll have a great Christian revival in this country too, and see people turning back to God. On that note, I will encourage you to seek the wisdom of our Lord and Savior. Do something. Be prepared. Be prepared tomorrow better than you are today. Until next time, God bless. I'm the Bearded Prepper, signing off.